Colton Haab, a SROTC cadet who helped lead students to safety during the shootings in Florida last week, went to the CNN event last night, or wanted to. He says CNN producers rewrote the question he wanted to ask. CNN denies scripting anything. In other words, they're claiming that Colton Haab is a liar. Colton Haab joins us tonight. Colton, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. And before we get into anything, I just want to make sure that everybody hasn't forgotten why we are actually here tonight. I mean, we lost 17 lives last week, and
yes,
I actually physically put 2 to rest. And to me, that was the hardest thing in the world to endure. I mean, nobody should have to go through this. So as long as we're taking the right steps to move forward from this and make sure that this doesn't happen again, I'm all for that.
Well, we certainly haven't forgotten. Thank you for reminding us yet again. And we think that the only way to make the country better and maybe put a dent in this scourge is to have a rational, thoughtful conversation about what to do next. And with that in mind,
Absolutely.
You were planning to go to this event last night. And tell me if I'm mischaracterizing any of this. And you sent in, at the request of a CNN producer, you sent in a number of questions, statements you wanted to make, questions that you wanted to ask of the politicians on the stage. And they rewrote one of your questions? Is that right?
Yes, sir. So what had happened was 4 days ago, I had gotten contacted by a lady named Carrie Stevenson from CNN. She had asked me originally to just write a speech. It was going to be at the town hall at the BB&T Center. So I agreed. I felt like it would be the right thing to do, be able to go speak my part, as well as open eyes to a few things that I thought that could make this situation a little better. From there, 3 days ago, so the next day after that, we had gotten, I got an email back from her, and she asked for more of questions rather than a speech, which I was totally fine with. So I wrote a little less of a speech and more of questions that I wanted to ask at the town hall. The day after that, it was more of just questions. She asked for just questions that I would like to ask. So I gave her my questions, and then yesterday at about 5:15, I made contact with her, and she had asked if I just asked her one question. So what they had actually done was wrote out a question for me, because in my interview with CNN, I had talked about arming the teachers if they were willing to arm themselves in the school to carry on campus. And they had, she had taken that of what I had briefed on and actually wrote that question out for me. So I have that question here if you'd like me to ask it for you.
Well, but I just want to make sure I have this straight. So you sent them a long, in effect, essay on what you thought, but they put
Yes,
their
sir.
own words in the question, and they weren't the same as the words you had sent in? They were the producer's words?
Absolutely. They had taken what I had wrote and what I had briefed on and talked about, and they actually wrote the question for me.
But not with your words. I mean, they put their own words into your question, even after they'd asked you to send questions in. But that seems dishonest.
It definitely did, and that's kind of why I didn't go last night. Originally, I had thought that it was going to be more of my own question and my own say, and then it turned out to be more of just a script. And she had actually said that over the phone, that I needed to stick to the script.
That's remarkable. What did you watch last night?
I watched a little bit of it. I kind of felt like I didn't really need to, because I knew that as soon as what had happened with me, that it was going to be more scripted and wasn't actually going to be actual questions, then I didn't feel the need to fully watch it.
So if CNN was willing to reword your question, put their own words in your mouth, and as you said, you didn't want to go along with that, do you think they did that to other people last night?
I mean, absolutely. From what I did see, I had seen a couple people that had asked questions before I did leave my house. And it was a little piece of paper cut out. And I know for a fact that nobody cut their own paper out and wrote their own question, especially when they were all based off the same topic. So to me, from right there, it showed that this isn't correct. Why are they all have the same size piece of paper with a short little question on it? So to
I
me,
guess
it was a total
what's surprising is you're not just some person off the street. You're a survivor of this shooting, and the point was to listen to you, to the survivors of the shooting. Were you surprised by the way they behaved?
I mean, honestly, it was very shocking to me, because we just went through such a horrific tragedy. For them to take that and now make such a big news cast over what they want to hear, it was very upsetting to me.
It's shocking to us too, trust me, in the actual journalism business. Colton, thank you. Thank you for telling us that. It's really interesting.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Godspeed.
One of these students, one of these survivors, in fact, one of the heroic stories where a student shielded his classmates with Kevlar, accused CNN of scripting questions in their town hall, to which CNN replied that there is absolutely no truth to those statements. I'm wondering, is there now going to be an uproar over CNN essentially accusing this student of lying? The first story from Real Clear Politics, and actually this is just hosting a local 10 ABC news story, says, shooting survivor. CNN gave me scripted questions after denying questions about armed guards. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School student Colton Haab said he was approached by CNN to ask a question at Wednesday night's town hall, but decided not to after the network gave him a scripted question, quashing one he wrote himself. Haab, a member of the junior ROTC, shielded students while the school was under attack from the shooter, said he was going to ask about using veterans as armed security guards. CNN had originally asked me to write a speech and questions, and it ended up being all scripted, Haab told WPLG TV. Let's go back to the main story, Local 10 ABC. CNN refutes Parkland school shooting survivor's scripted question claim. Colton Haab says he declined to participate in town hall because of it. And this is the video that everyone is talking about.
Calvin Lurie, you said it. He got dressed. His parents got dressed up. They were looking forward to come here to the BB&T Center. But then he says that after preparing his questions, he says that CNN gave him a scripted question. So he said, no way.
I expected to be able to ask my questions and give my opinion on my questions.
But Colton Haab, a member of the junior ROTC who shielded classmates in the midst of terror, says he did not get to share his experience.
CNN had originally asked me to write a speech and questions, and it ended up being all scripted.
Colton wrote questions about school safety, suggested using veterans as armed school security guards, but claimed CNN wanted him to ask a scripted question instead, so he decided not to go.
I don't think that it's going to get anything accomplished. It's not going to ask the true questions that all the parents and teachers and students have.
And CNN responded to his claim. They said, there is absolutely no truth to this. CNN did not provide or script questions for anyone in last night's town hall, nor have we ever. After seeing an interview with Colton Haab, we invited him to participate in our town hall along with other students and administrators from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Colton's father withdrew his name from participation before the forum began, which we regretted but respected. We welcome Colton to join us on CNN today to discuss his views on school safety. So let's look at the top of that statement. There is absolutely no truth to this. CNN did not provide or script questions for anyone in last night's town hall, nor have we ever. Well, there it is. CNN says they have never scripted questions or provided them to their town hall guests in the past. They said, nor have we ever. So now we're left with a question of who to trust. You have CNN, and they claim they're the most trusted name in news, or Colton Haab, a 17-year-old JROTC student who potentially saved many lives by shielding them with Kevlar amidst a horrible mass shooting. You have to decide who to trust. But I'm going to help you out here, because I am now going to accuse CNN of lying. Snopes has an article. Brazil cuts. CNN parted ways with political commentator Donna Brazil after leaked emails demonstrated what appeared to be improper collusion with Hillary Clinton's campaign. Claim: Donna Brazil was fired from CNN after leaked emails suggested she used her position to pass information to the Clinton campaign about upcoming appearances, and according to Snopes, this is true. In the first instance, ahead of a March 13 CNN town hall, it appears that guest moderator Roland Martin from TV One may have shared his contributions to the questions with Brazil. In an email the day before the town hall to senior Clinton staffers, Brazil wrote, "From time to time I get the questions in advance," and included the text of a question about the death penalty. An email later obtained by Politico showed that the text of the question Brazil sent to the Clinton campaign was identical to a proposed question Martin had offered CNN. A similar, though not identical question was ultimately posed to Clinton at the town hall. The Martin connection was seemingly cemented when WikiLeaks published more of that thread featuring a newly released reply in which Brazil promises to send additional questions. "I'll send a few more," Brazil wrote, adding, though some questions Rowland submitted. Martin initially denied sharing his questions with anyone, but later said his executive producer and team at TV1 had the questions in order to pass them on to the CNN team. Once Politico obtained further emails, Martin said he didn't believe he consulted with Brazil about the questions. Martin did not return a request for comment. Donna Brazil, in an official capacity with CNN, claimed that from time to time she got the questions in advance and forwarded them to the Clinton campaign. Because of this, she was forced to resign, and Snopes.com says this is true. Assuming they are correct, what we have here is a statement from someone working in an official capacity with CNN saying, from time to time, I get the questions in advance. And that quote means not only are the questions scripted, provided to or from CNN, but that she then, as a CNN contributor, passed them along to a town hall guest. This story is old, and it refutes the statement from CNN this morning where they said, CNN did not provide or script questions for anyone in last night's town hall, nor have we ever. That is a lie. And according to Snopes.com, that is true. That Donna Brazil received questions in advance, that she stated from time to time she received questions in advance, and that she did in fact pass them along to the Clinton campaign in advance, refuting everything CNN just said. So now you have to ask me, who am I going to trust? The SROTC survivor of a mass shooting who risked his life to shield students with Kevlar, or CNN who just lied to everyone?